Coral reefs are among the most diverse ecosystems in the world. These ecosystems can be thought of as rainforests of the sea. Unlike the rainforest that covers 4% of the terrestrial land, coral reefs only cover 1% of the ocean floor. Although coral reefs only cover a small portion of the ocean floor, their importance must not be overlooked. Corals act as a protection for small organisms against predators, a nursery for developing fish, and a food source for some animals. Coral reefs are sometimes mistaken as plants, but they are actually animals. These organisms are actually the sessile cousins of the jellyfish. Sessile meaning they are fixed in one place or immobile. Corals that produce reefs are known as hard corals, while sea fans and sea whips are soft corals. Coral reefs are made up of tiny animals called polyps. These polyps can vary in size from 1 to 3 millimeters in diameter. Corals are translucent by themselves, but with a special algae called zooxanthellae, they get their variation of colors. Corals and algae have a symbiotic relationship. Symbiosis is the biological interaction between two different biological organisms. But just how are these colorful ecosystems made? Coral reefs are constructed by coral polyps as they release sheets of calcium carbonate underneath their bodies. The coral provides a protected environment and the compounds the algae need for photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants use the energy from the sunlight to produce glucose from carbon dioxide and water. In exchange, zooxanthellae manufacture cellulose that the corals use for nourishment along with oxygen. Zooxanthellae have three main pigments which are responsible for the absorption of light energy. They are chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C2, and pyridine. These pigments are responsible for determining which wavelength of light will be used in photosynthesis. There are two important factors that must be considered when the algae in the corals use light energy. Firstly, the light quantity. To keep up high levels of efficiency, coral reefs are mainly situated in shallow waters, which are under 30 meters in length. Within shallow waters, coral reefs can be open to large levels of light energy. These levels can range from more than 2,000 micromole photons. But just how do coral reefs in deep waters survive? In cases of corals with low light environments, corals adjust by reducing the use of energy through decreasing tissue biomass, skeleton thickness, and respiration rates. Zooxanthellae can also boost light absorption in low light environments by using photosynthetic pigments and raising photosynthetic efficiency. In the graph drawn, it can be seen that the output of light energy decreases with depth in the ocean. Secondly, light quality. As the depth of the ocean increases, the composition of light changes. This happens because individual wavelengths have particular intensity properties. For example, blue light transmits deepest in the ocean, while red light is attenuated, meaning having been reduced in force. A recent study done comparing the effects of blue and red light on coral reefs found that red light alone or a combination of both have harmful effects on the zooxanthellae living in corals. Some factors that influence the amount of solar energy getting to corals are waves. Waves act as lens bending light rays, causing the light to concentrate and defocus on the coral reefs. Also, marine life, along with storm clouds, create shadows that inhibit the passage of light rays. Not only can solar energy have a positive impact on coral reefs, but it can have a negative effect due to the excess heat from the sun being absorbed by the ocean. The ocean absorbs most of the excess heat from greenhouse gas emissions, leading to the rising ocean temperatures. As a result of this, corals get stressed and discharge their symbiotic algae that live within their tissues. These zooxanthellae that gave the corals their color are now gone, which causes the corals to turn completely white. If conditions in the water that stress the corals do not get better, the symbiotes that lived in the corals do not return. Two major consequences of coral bleaching are: 1. Corals are now vulnerable to disease, along with their growth and reproduction being hindered. Secondly, the coral reef structure and function change drastically. Large bleaching events usually happen as a result of coral reefs being exposed to raised temperatures of 1 degree Celsius above the average temperature in the area for about 4 to 6 weeks. Over the past few years, there have been 3 mass coral bleachings. The first one recorded occurred in 1998, which resulted in 80% of the living coral in the Indian Ocean dying.